Hello everyone, I'm Yvonne, a children's librarian here at the Manchester State Library, and welcome to our winter elementary experiments. These are activities and crafts made for grades 1 through 6 that have a science, technology, engineering, art, or math component. We are continuing to have our in-person elementary experiments on the second Wednesday and the fourth Tuesday of each month at 3:30 p.m. in the Winchell Room at the Manchester City Library. We are posting these videos for anyone who is not able to attend, and they will be posted at the same time as our events. But if you are in grades 1 through 6 and you would like to attend and do our experiments in person, please register for our next elementary experiments on our website. In-person attendance will also guarantee that you will get a kit to help you complete our craft portion of our elementary experiments. Although any extra kits that we have will be available at the Children's Reference Desk while supplies last. So if you weren't able to go in person, but you can get to the library after this video goes up, just go ahead and ask to see if we have any extras. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into this week's elementary experiments. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's elementary experiments where we are going to be talking about static electricity, which is very fun because you can find it or make it almost anywhere you are. So we are just going to get or create and use a couple extra fun tools to observe static electricity. So static electricity is caused by the imbalance of charges within the surface of a material. So in an atom, you have positive and negative pieces, right? So we have positrons and electrons. Now, normally materials are electrically neutral, which means they have the same amount of positive protons and negative electrons to balance each other out. But when two materials are in contact with each other and rub against each other, then it is possible for electrons to move from one to the other. So you get a buildup of negative electrons on one side, and then on the other side you end up with more positive protons that don't have the electrons to balance them out. This causes what we call static electricity, meaning that the electricity is staying in one place. It is static as opposed to moving or flowing through like a wire, right? So we have our positive and our negative, and that means that both of these two things still want to balance out. So if you have gathered like a negative electric charge by like shuffling your feet across a carpet to build up the electrons, and then you go and you touch something else, like another person, or you know, I don't know, a blanket or something like that, and that other person or other object has a positive charge, then your negative charge is going to want to neutralize and distribute itself evenly between you. And that is when you can get what is called a static shock. So the next time that you get that little pinch of electricity when you're trying to open a car door or anything else, you'll know where it comes from. There are a lot of other cool things we can do, though, to see static electricity, hopefully without actually getting shocked ourselves. So that is what we are going to work on in today's elementary experiments. Our activity today is to build an electroscope. Now this is one of our more complicated things that we have built, I think, in elementary experiments. So you definitely might want to get an adult to help you because we are going to be like cutting wires and poking holes in things. and shaping wires, and it might just be helpful to have an adult with a little bit of extra muscle and just to make sure that nothing goes wrong. We also need to gather quite a few supplies for this one. We're going to need a glass jar. We're going to need a plain wire hanger, or a copper wire that's at least a 14 gauge. We're going to need some pliers with a clipper in them, and also for shaping the wire. We're going to need some aluminum foil, pencil, some cardboard that is at least as big as the opening of your jar, because we're going to need to make a little lid for it. We've got some electrical tape, straw, we've got a balloon, and let's see, we're going to need some scissors, a hot glue gun, which is warming up right now. Just whatever you have around that you want to test with later, but as long as you have like a balloon or a piece of styrofoam, and then either some wool or hair that you can rub it on to create that static charge to test our electroscope, you should be okay. So we're going to want to take our straw, and we want about 3 inches of our straw. Then we are going to take our cardboard and our glass jar, and we're going to trace the opening. And then we are going to cut this out and then poke a hole in the middle that we can fit the straw through. All right, we've got this. All right, next we are going to take our hanger, and we're going to cut the straight part of the hanger off. Again, this is where you might want to get an adult to help. Now we are going to take our pliers, and we're going to twist one end of our metal rod into a spiral. Again, this might be a bit difficult, and you want to watch the edges because they can be a little bit sharp once we've cut them. So just keep that in mind. So here is our spiral. Now I'm going to secure our straw to our cardboard lid with our hot glue. Now we are going to insert our wire through the straw, and then we are going to make a hook on this side here. Now what we're going to do is we are going to take our aluminum foil, and we are going to cut out 2 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and do a sort of like a water drop shape. And that's going to be about 1 to 2 inches long. Okay, so we're going to put a hole through our 2 pieces. Right, going to make sure that they are flat, and we are going to hang them on our wire. We have our spiral with our hook that we have put our 2 aluminum pieces on, and they are touching through our straw with our cardboard lid. We are going to put that into our jar. All right, we do need to make sure it's hanging inside the jar suspended, so I'm going to make this a little shorter. So once we're sure that everything is as it should be, we can go ahead and seal the cardboard to the jar with some of our electrical tape. So this is our finished electroscope. And now we get to have the fun of testing it. So what we're going to do is we are going to create some static electricity. And one of the easiest ways of doing that is using a balloon or some styrofoam. We're going to test both. So here goes the balloon. So we are going to rub the balloon onto our hair or wool to build up the charge. And then we are going to move our charged item close to the wire without touching it and see what happens down here inside of the jar with the aluminum pieces. Oh, do you guys see that? Here, let's see if I can bring it closer. So we've got our, all right, and we can see if the styrofoam does similar. Okay, so the styrofoam, there is a little bit of movement, but it's not nearly as much as when I did the balloon. It might also be the type of styrofoam I'm using, but the balloon definitely had a greater static charge. And you can go through once you have made your electroscope and you can test out all sorts of different items to see how much of a static charge that you can detect using the electroscope. So for our craft, we have a much more simple way of observing static electricity, hopefully with things that you could find in your own home, but we will have our craft bags available for anyone who's wandering through and wants to pick them up. So in our craft bags, we have our instructions about what we have done this week. And of course, we are going to have our little cereal pieces. There'll be a few in there just in case some gets smushed. But for our swinging cereal, we do need our cereal pieces. So these are O-shaped dry cereal of whatever type that you can get your hands on or that's in a bag, which is like puffed white rice or wheat. Ours are wheat, so just beware of anyone with allergies. Of course, these are not for eating because they are for experimenting, but just in case someone is sensitive, just by touch. We have, of course, a balloon to create our easy static electricity. And finally, we have our little bit of thread that we are going to use to swing our cereal. I might put this in, wrap this so that's a little easier to find in our bag. But yeah, this one is actually really quite simple. So we are going to tie our cereal onto our thread. I think that we can string it onto the thread and then use it. I'm going to test that first. And if not, then we can actually tie it. So we have our cereal on the thread and we have to have somewhere to hang it off of. So I grabbed this box. You can hang it off of like a table or like a chair or something, but definitely ask before you put any tape on furniture because sometimes tape can really mess up furniture, especially if it's wood. So ask an adult or whoever owns the furniture first. But I'm just using cardboard, so should be fine. All right, so we've got our thing. We had the balloon in the bag, but I used a balloon and already blew it up for our activity, so I'm going to use that one. Here it is. Let's see. So what we're going to do is we are going to charge our balloon with static electricity. And again, the easiest way to do that is to rub it on your hair or wool. Although you can test other things, you can build up a static charge on most stuff. And then we are going to bring our balloon towards our swinging serial. So let's test this. Okay, that's really interesting. See how it's swinging like crazy? All right. So knowing what we know about how static electricity works, you guys can figure out why our swinging serial behaves this way. All right, I hope everyone enjoyed this week's elementary experiments and our different experiments with static electricity to see how they affect the world around us. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. If anyone is interested in learning more about static electricity, I will put my book recommendations at the end of this video, and they are books that you can pick up at the Manchester City Library if you are coming by. We will also have the extras of our crafts. If you have kiddos or you are a kid in grades 1 through 6, you can pick those up as well. Our next elementary experiment is going to be on January 10th. That is going to be a Wednesday. I am going to give you guys a little heads up that we might be making some slime. It's been a while since we did that in elementary experiments. And celebrating the new year is a great excuse. So anyway, I will see you guys back here on January 10th. And possibly I'll see you sooner if you stop by the Manchester City Library. Until then, bye!